If you like horror and creepy story, then subscribe this channel and do like and comment. When I was younger and still living in the city, I used to move apartments like other people changed shirts. It wasn't because I was getting evicted or anything, far from it. There were just always these dirt cheap places listed in the classifieds. Easy to hop between whenever the lease was up or the neighborhood started to feel wrong. I didn't own much either, just a bed, a couch, a TV, some clothes. Packing everything up never took more than an afternoon. That lifestyle fit me back then. Made sense. I liked being close to the action. Being able to walk to a bar, catch a late movie, grab food without ever needing to plan anything. Just step out and go. The last place I lived before everything went bad was on the east side, tucked just off this long boulevard lined with old, crumbling brick duplexes. The apartment was slightly bigger than my last, with warped floors that creaked under every step. The heater ticked all night like it was filled with gravel. But it was mine. I moved in just as summer was winding down. I remember dragging my mattress up the narrow stairs, drenched in sweat by the time I reached the top. The hallway had this weird smell, like stale carpet mixed with rotting fruit. I figured I'd get used to it. You always do. The unit across from mine had the blinds drawn tight, door scuffed and dented. I didn't think much of it at first. Just another tenant. The guy who lived there looked like he worked construction or maybe bounced at a bar, shaved head, thick shoulders, sunburnt neck. Sometimes I saw a woman with him, but not often. Mostly, I just heard her. The fights started small. Raised voices, slammed doors. Then it got worse. Louder. Violent. I'd lie on my couch, volume cranked, but nothing could drown it out. His yelling sounded unhinged, raw and venomous. Her voice, thin and brittle, always begging. Defeated. Sometimes I'd come home late and hear her crying in the hallway. Just her voice echoing off the brick, like she was the only one left alive on the floor. I called the cops twice. Both times they barely stayed 10 minutes. The first time, I watched through the peephole, saw him standing shirtless in the doorway, arms crossed, breathing hard, while one officer spoke to him in a bored tone. The second time, they didn't even come inside. Just knocked, spoke briefly, and left. They had a routine. De-escalate and disappear before it became paperwork. Eventually, I started sleeping with earplugs. But they didn't help. You can't drown out the sound of someone being hit. You can't unhear that sharp, awful slap. Or the silence that followed. Then came the night I still think about. The worst one. It had been quiet for 2 days. No yelling, no crashes. I let myself believe she'd finally left him. Maybe packed her things and gone while he was out. I got home around 7, made some pasta, and sat in front of the TV. Around 8:30, it started again. But this time, it was different. It was a scream. A real scream. High and shaking, laced with panic. I muted the TV immediately and stood up, heart pounding. I could hear him shouting, something smashing. Then her voice, shrill and terrified. "Don't. Please don't do that again." Then a crash against the wall. My wall. I didn't think. I just moved. Grabbed my phone and dialed the police. Told them it was serious this time, that he might kill her. That someone needed to come now. They gave me the same answer, unless someone from the apartment called, unless I heard a weapon, there wasn't much they could do. Whatever that meant. I hung up, crossed the hall, fists clenched, stomach churning. I knocked. No answer. Just chaos inside. I pounded harder. The door shook on its hinges. Then it flew open. And there he was. He looked even bigger in the doorway, massive, almost unreal. His shoulders filled the frame, casting a shadow over me. Bare chest heaving. Eyes wide, bloodshot. Sweat dripping down his face. His jaw was clenched so tight it looked like he was chewing broken glass. He stared at me like he was chewing on broken glass. "What the F*** do you want?" he growled. "She's screaming, man," I said, trying to stay calm. "I already called the cops. Enough is enough." He didn't blink. Didn't twitch. Just stared. And suddenly, I realized how close I was to him, only a few inches. I could smell the beer on his breath, the sweat soaked into his skin. "I'm not going to say it again," I warned. "Let her go." That's when it happened. He didn't say a word. Didn't shout. Just grabbed my shirt, yanked me off the floor like I weighed nothing, and slammed me into the hallway wall. Pain exploded in my ribs. I tried to push him off, tried to get some distance, but his fist crashed into my jaw. White light burst in my vision and I hit the ground but he wasn't done. I scrambled backwards down the hallway toward my door. A boot hit my stomach and I coughed so hard I thought my lungs would come up. Another punch, this one to my cheek. I rolled toward my door, everything spinning. Just behind him, I caught a glimpse of her, standing in the doorway, blood running from her nose, barely holding herself up. She screamed at me to run. But her voice, it was hollow. Like someone who was already halfway gone. My key fumbled in the lock. I barely got the door open and staggered inside. He followed, still swinging. I threw my body against the door and somehow managed to slam it shut just long enough to drop the chain lock. He started pounding on it, yelling through the wood. I slid to the floor, panting, blood spilling onto the tile. I thought it was over. It wasn't. I sat with my back against the door, shaking. My left eye was swollen shut. Every breath sent sharp waves of pain through my chest. My hands were sticky with blood, some his, but mostly mine. And through the door, I still heard him. Pacing. Whispering. Saying things I couldn't make out. Then the door jolted hard. I jumped up. Another slam. Then a pause. Then, wood cracking. I scrambled backward, dragging the coffee table across the entryway, but my arm wouldn't work, dislocated, maybe. The chain snapped. The door buckled. Then it burst open. He stood there in the frame. Calm. Breathing slow. "Should have just minded your own ing business," he said. I tried to stand. Failed. He crossed the room in 2 steps, grabbed my collar, and flung me down the hallway. I hit the wall and dropped. Tried to crawl. He kicked the back of my head, and I collapsed. Then came the punches. Deep, hard ones to my ribs and spine, like he was trying to reach through me. I think I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was on my mattress. The bed was tilted from where he had thrown me. Blood soaked into the sheets. He stood over me, panting. Then, slowly, he reached down, and pulled the blanket over me. Tucked it around my sides like a mother putting her child to bed. "Don't knock on my ing door again," he whispered. "You don't call anyone. You don't look at me. Or her." He turned and walked away. Then stopped. "Oh. I'm taking this too," he said. I couldn't see what he grabbed, but I heard the clink, the spare key hanging by the front door. The one I always left there. "If I hear a word," he said, "I'll come in while you're sleeping, and slit your ing throat." And then, just like that, he was gone. The door creaked closed. I heard his boots cross the hallway, the soft click of his own door opening and closing. No lock. No goodbye. Just silence. I laid in bed until morning. Didn't sleep. Didn't move. Just stared at the ceiling. And listened to the pipes moan behind the wall. Every little creak sounded like another footstep. Every car door outside made my stomach twist. Kept thinking he was coming back, that he'd left something unfinished. I didn't go to work the next day or the next day after that. I didn't call the cops because again, what would I say? That I got beat up for playing hero. That I poked my nose where it didn't belong. They probably wouldn't even come out again. So, a week later, I started looking for new places. It took me 2 full months, but I finally got out. Didn't even break the lease. Just paid through the end and walked. I left half my furniture behind. I couldn't stand to look at the bed again. The mattress was still bloody. I didn't even have it in me to throw it out. Just let the landlord deal with it. Now, I triple-check my locks. I keep my blinds shut. I flinch when somebody knocks on the wall, even if it's just the pipes. I still don't even sleep right to this day. I'll wake up thinking he's back, standing at my feet. Bed holding up that key. I never saw that woman again either. Sometimes, and occasionally, I'll think back to her. Wonder if she ever got out or if she's still in there, taking those punches and screaming behind those old paper-thin walls. I've lived alone for most of my adult life. Not by some great design or a tragedy, just by default. No kids, no ex-wife, not even a dog. I had a job that I didn't hate, enough friends to keep me from going completely nuts, and a few hobbies that would pass the time. The rest was just filler. If something needed done, I would do it eventually. Laundry, dishes, groceries, car maintenance. All of it existed on this weird clock of motivation that rarely lined up with logic. I kept the fridge mostly empty because I hated grocery stores. I hated cooking even more. Most nights, I'd realize that I was hungry. Hop in the car for a drive-through or a pickup order. I knew every greasy spoon in every takeout window within a 10 miles radius. The place that I lived in was this squat little rental just off a frontage road behind a rundown strip mall. 1 bedroom, no yard to speak of, blinds that were always crooked. It was quiet enough, which is all I really cared about. Never had any trouble with the neighbors, never had any real sense of community either. Most nights I'd get home late, kick off my boots, fire up Hulu or PlayStation, and ride the couch into the early hours. Sometimes I'd scroll through dating apps or online auctions just to kill some time. I didn't drink much, never saw the appeal, and I never touched drugs. I was just lazy in a way that felt like it ran in my blood. The only thing I really stayed on top of was work. I wasn't passionate about it or anything, but it kept the lights on, paid my rent. I was the kind of guy who just did it enough to keep moving forward, even if that meant barely. The house was cluttered, but not filthy. The car had its issues, but still ran. I didn't owe anybody anything, and nobody owed me. It was a very simple, low-stakes existence, and I'd gotten real comfortable living in that way. Until one of these nights, it came off the rails because I couldn't be bothered to cook dinner. That night, I got off work around 9 o'clock. I was wiped. I hadn't eaten anything since noon, and the idea of boiling water or even making a sandwich felt like a whole ordeal. So, I grabbed my keys, called in an order to this hole-in-the-wall Chinese place that I like, Paco Panda, out by the gas station. I picked something to stream while I waited. Some murder show. Probably. I just remember my stomach twisting up at the thought of sesame chicken. It was only a short drive, maybe 10 minutes. The place was mostly empty when I walked in. I paid, grabbed my bag, and thanked the lady at the counter, and went back to my car. The food smelled amazing. I remember turning on the heater on full blast even though it was early fall. My idea of a food hack. I just wanted to get home, plant my ass on the couch, and eat straight from the cartons. I hit the first light coming out of the strangers in the driveway. I had just pulled into the parking lot and brought the car to a stop. Music was playing, Let's Go to War, by the Murderdolls, and everything felt normal, until I noticed movement to my left. An old, sun-bleached sedan was pulling up beside me. Its engine rattled like it was barely holding together, windows down, the frame sagging under age and abuse. I glanced over. 4 guys inside. Early 20s, maybe. At first, I thought they were trying to get my attention, maybe my lights were off, or I'd dropped my wallet somewhere. I turned the music down and rolled my window halfway. "What?" I called out. The passenger leaned out and yelled, "You look like you beat off to cartoons, bro." There was a moment, just a beat, where I didn't react. Then it registered. They were just being assholes. I don't know what possessed me, but I shot back without thinking, "Is that something you, know a lot about? You like cartoon come time?" His face twitched for a second, just long enough to let me know I'd touched a nerve. Then the light turned green. I gunned it. I didn't expect them to follow me. But they did. Not aggressively, not at first. They didn't tailgate me or try to run me off the road. They just stayed behind me. Quiet. Steady. Like a shadow with bad intentions. I took a few extra turns just to be sure. They mirrored every move. I even pulled into a random grocery store lot, looped around, tried to shake them. Nothing. They stayed glued to me. By the time I made it back to my neighborhood, my hands were sweating on the wheel. I debated circling the block, trying to lose them. But part of me thought, screw it, they'll get bored eventually, right? I pulled into my driveway and left the engine running. Their car rolled up behind me and stopped in the street. 3 of them got out. The driver stayed behind the wheel. None of them looked familiar. One was tall and wiry, wearing a ski cap even though it wasn't cold. Another had a hoodie with the strings tight around his face. The third looked like he was built in prison, thick neck, fists like bricks. Mean. They didn't rush me. They didn't yell. They just circled my car. Slowly. Casually. Looking in the windows. Muttering to each other like I couldn't hear. I stayed in the driver's seat, clutching the steering wheel like it was the last safe thing in the world. My phone was in my pocket, but I didn't reach for it. I didn't want to draw attention. Didn't want to give them a reason. "All right, come on out, tough guy," one of them said. "Yeah, keep talking that shit," another added, tapping on my window with his knuckle. I didn't move. One of them kicked the driver's side door, hard. It made me jump. Left a dent, too. They laughed. They stood around in my yard for another 5 minutes, pointing at things. My trash cans. The porch light. My car. Like they were taking stock of what they could mess with. I expected them to slash my tires. Smash a window. Something. But eventually, they got back in the sedan and drove off. No words. No warning. I sat there, frozen, for another 5 minutes before I finally moved. My breathing was all over the place. Porch light glint. He had something in his hand. I couldn't tell what, maybe a tire iron, maybe a flashlight, but it caught the porch light just wrong, casting weird shadows and a sharp glint that made my stomach drop. I backed away from the window. Locked the deadbolt. then the knob. Then slid the security chain into place with trembling fingers. My heart was thudding so loud it sounded like footsteps inside my ears. I didn't have a gun. Never thought I'd need one. No mace, either. Just a kitchen full of dull knives and a duller sense of regret. Then came the pounding. Flat palm first. Then fists. One of them barked, "Come on, tough guy. Say what you said earlier." The door shook under each hit. It was old, rental-grade hollowcore. Useless if they really wanted in. For a second, I just stood there. Living room lights still on. Socks on my feet. Beer going warm on the table. My mouth was dry as chalk. I thought about calling the cops. But what would I even say? 3 guys are outside being scary? I grew up around rough kids. I knew how that would go. They'd be gone long before a cruiser showed up, if one even came. I turned off the lights. The dark made everything feel thinner, more fragile. Their voices outside were louder now. One tried the knob. Another stomped on the porch like a pissed-off toddler. Then, silence. I crept into the back bedroom. Closet door open. Inside was something I hadn't touched in years, a cheap-ass katana I bought at a state fair in high school. Not sharpened. Just a steel replica meant for a display stand. But it was long. Heavy. And it looked real in the dark. I grabbed it. Opened a plastic bin. Dug out an old Halloween mask, rubber demon face with twisted horns and yellowed fangs. It reeked of dust and plastic. I shoved it on anyway. Slipped out the back door. The grass was wet under my feet. My chest pounding like a war drum. I moved along the side of the house, keeping low. Then I saw them, 3 guys near the porch, pacing, pissed and confused. 30 more seconds, one yelled, "Then we break your ing windows." I didn't give myself time to think. I charged. Barefoot. Wild. Katana raised. Letting out a scream that tore straight out of my chest. They turned all at once, and froze. A barefoot maniac with a sword and demon mask barreling at them out of the darkness? It was enough. One of them screamed. The biggest one tripped trying to backpedal. All 3 bolted to their car. Slammed the doors. Peeled out in a screech of tires and panic. I stood in the yard until their engine faded into the night. That was the last time I ever saw them. After that, I started locking the doors before sunset. Got a motion light installed. Even bought a real baseball bat, wooden, solid. Not for show. I still live alone. Still eat too much cheap Chinese. Still waste too many nights on the couch. But I don't mouth off to strangers anymore. The day I was truly alone. Growing up in Pakistan, our home was always bustling. My grandparents, my aunt and uncle, their 3 children, the neighbors, and of course, frequent visitors. We had an open-door policy, both literally and figuratively. It was the kind of neighborhood where people rarely locked their doors during the day. It felt safe, familiar. Or so we thought. Like many families, we hired domestic help, cooks, cleaners, and general assistants. My grandparents opted for female helpers, especially with daughters in the house, but they also employed a male helper named Bashir. He had his own quarters outside the main house. While his presence was normalized in our culture, something about him always unsettled me. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was just me being cautious. Whatever it was, I developed this habit of locking any room I was in, even when others were home. Life in Pakistan, especially for a young girl, was different. My grandparents were wealthy, but money didn't guarantee safety. You always had to be alert. One spring afternoon changed everything. I was alone in my aunt and uncle's bedroom, watching TV. It was my secret little escape. Their room had a private television, unlike the shared one downstairs. At the time, I didn't realize I was the only one home. My grandfather was at work. My aunt and uncle had taken the kids on a day trip. My grandmother had gone out on an errand with the driver. I was truly alone. Then came a knock, loud, repetitive, urgent that I froze. I muted the TV and crept to the door, pressing my ear against it. It was Basher. He was calling my name, his tone anxious and rushed. He said he needed to give me something. I told him to leave it at the door. He paused. Then he said he needed to ask me something, but when I insisted he ask through the door, he said nothing. Instead, the doorknob began to turn. The frame creaked as he shoved against it. Harder. Again. My heart pounded. Reality sank in. I was alone. With him. Panic set in, but so did survival instinct. I scanned the room for options. The landline phone was useless without the directory, which was downstairs. I hadn't memorized a single number. I darted to the window, hoping to see a neighbor, a vendor, anyone. But the street was empty. Basher was still trying to get in. I considered the closet, but it didn't lock. So I ran into the attached bathroom. It had 2 locks. I bolted them both and climbed onto the toilet to reach the small, high window. From there, I could see the neighboring house. I screamed for help. No one came. Just as I gathered my breath to scream louder, I heard a voice, my grandmother's, calling my name from the hallway. I froze again, unsure if I was hallucinating. But then she called again, louder, clearer. I opened the bathroom door carefully. Then, slowly, the bedroom door. She stood there, alone, breathless, wide-eyed. She rushed in and held my arms. "I just realized you were home by yourself," she said between gasps. I came back as fast as I could. I never told her what happened. Not exactly. I don't know if she noticed Basher retreating, or if she sensed something was off. Maybe she just saw the look on my face. The whole thing lasted less than 20 minutes, but it was the most terrifying 20 minutes of my life. Feeling trapped, powerless, and cornered inside your own home is a kind of fear that doesn't leave you. Years later, in the mid-2000s, I returned to Pakistan for a visit. By then, I was back in the US with my mom. One afternoon at my grandparents' house, the women in the family, my mom, my aunts, started teasing me about how I used to be so paranoid back then. How I'd lock every door and hide in the bathroom at the slightest sound. I laughed along, quietly. Some things are better left unspoken. The day I met the tiger inside me. It was supposed to be a normal evening. My family had guests, a surprise visitor who had come all the way from another village just to see me. Everyone seemed cheerful, nudging each other and laughing as they told me to come into the living room. I stepped inside, and there he was. Basher. My heart sank. He looked unwell. His eyes were bloodshot. That dazed, distant stare, the kind you only see on people who haven't slept in days, was fixed directly on me. And behind it, something else. Something unreadable. Dangerous. I kept my expression calm, forced a polite smile. "I heard you got married." "Congratulations," I said. He didn't reply. Just nodded silently, still staring. I muttered a quick excuse and retreated to my room, closing the door behind me. That was the last time I ever saw him. But seeing him again after all those years brought everything rushing back. The fear. The panic. The terrible, unshakable instinct that something horrible almost happened to me that day, and now, I'll never know what he truly intended. But my gut tells me, I narrowly escaped something awful. What Basher didn't know, though, was that I wasn't some naive, easily fooled girl. I was a fighter. I had grown up with 2 older brothers, and I'd been learning karate since I was 6. My instructor used to call me Little Tiger. If he had tried to force his way through that door, he wouldn't have found a frightened child. He would have met the tiger inside me. That day shaped who I became. It taught me about instincts, strength, survival. And I've carried that knowledge with me, silently, all these years. But today, I'm finally saying it out loud. Thanks for listening. Back then. It was 1995. I was 11 years old, living in a quiet little town in the Southwest, one of those places that still felt untouched by the darker side of the world. Both my parents worked full-time, so I was what you'd call a latchkey kid. I didn't mind. We weren't rich, but we had a decent little house with a garage, a backyard, and neighbors who mostly kept to themselves. My parents trusted me to stay out of trouble, and I usually did. Most days after school, I'd ride my bike around until I was tired. We didn't have cell phones or surveillance cameras. Just streetlights and instincts. And I had good instincts. Even as a kid, I knew which dogs barked, which fences were too loose, which roads had rough pavement that could send you flying if you weren't careful. I knew where the creepy houses were, the ones you just felt weird riding past. I knew how to disappear if something didn't feel right. Back then, our town didn't feel dangerous. People left their doors unlocked. Everyone waved from their driveways. We had block parties, barbecues, fireworks shows. Old men mowed each other's lawns just to be helpful. My parents weren't careless. Just busy. They worked long hours, came home exhausted. I understood. I never held it against them. I knew how to make my own snacks. I locked the doors when it got dark. I followed the rules. And nothing ever went wrong, until that night. Freddy. I'd seen Freddy around plenty of times. He lived 4 houses down. Worked as a mechanic or something like that. His carport was full of greasy tools, broken down junkers. I stopped once for a soda at the gas station and again later, just to sit on the curb outside the park and eat a half-melted granola bar. Around 6 p.m., the sun dipped lower, and the shadows stretched long across the sidewalks. Time to head home. I coasted back to our street, turning the corner just as Freddy was pulling into his driveway. I waved. He waved back. Beer already in his hand. His old truck wheezed like it was dying. I didn't think much of it. I was already picturing microwave popcorn and reruns of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Hey there, kiddo, Freddy called out, leaning against his truck hood as I pedaled past. Been out all day, huh? Yeah, I replied, hopping off my bike and starting up the driveway. Getting tall, too, he added. Almost didn't recognize you from behind. That made me pause. Polite, but cautious, I glanced over my shoulder. He was still smiling, but his eyes were glassy. Off. You're filling out those jeans real nice, he said. My stomach twisted. I didn't know what to say. No adult had ever spoken to me like that before, not directly. I muttered something like, I should go, and started wheeling my bike faster toward the garage. Ah, come on. Don't be like that, he said, stepping off the curb and wandering closer. I was just saying. You're real pretty now. If you ever need anything, come by. I mean it. I kept walking, faster now. You know, my kids don't visit me much, he said, voice growing quieter but somehow more intense. Maybe you and me could hang out sometime. Talk. Watch a movie. I got cable. Lotta good stuff on. I tried not to cry. My hands shook on the handlebars. I turned and hit the garage door button. The motor groaned and started pulling the door down. Then, fast footsteps, the screech of metal, the slam of the door reversing. Hey! "Don't be rude now," Freddy barked. He was inside the garage. I dropped my bike and ran. The side door into the house was cracked open. I shoved through it and nearly fell on the tile floor. I didn't look back, I couldn't. I knew he was right behind me. I screamed. Loud. As loud as I could. Hoping someone, anyone, might hear. Down the hall. Past the kitchen. Past the living room. I turned left into the hallway leading to the bedrooms. All the lights were off. The whole house felt cloaked in shadow. I didn't stop to think. Didn't stop for a weapon. I yanked open the hallway closet near the bathroom and threw myself inside, slamming the door shut and pressing my back against the shelves of towels. In the dark, I clenched my fists so tight my nails bit into my palms. My breath was shallow. Quiet. Then, the front door creaked open. Heavy footsteps. Slow. Purposeful. Breathing. Angry. Muttering. "Where'd you go?" Freddy called out, in a sing-song voice. "You in here, sweetheart? Come on now. Don't be a brat." Footsteps moved through the living room. Then the kitchen. Cabinet doors slammed. Something crashed. I bit the inside of my cheek, hard. The footsteps moved toward the hallway. The floor creaked just outside the closet door. Then, he passed it. Into my parents' room. Drawers opened. The bed creaked. I heard his voice, low, rambling, something about girls always teasing and always running. I didn't move. Just listened. Frozen. When I heard the door to their room close, I counted to 60. Then another 60. Slowly, I eased the closet door open. Empty hallway. I didn't walk. I ran. Up the stairs, 2, 3 steps at a time, nearly tripping in the dark. The old wood groaned under my feet. Every sound felt like a flare, like a shout, like it would bring him right to me. At the top, I turned into the bathroom, slammed the door, and twisted the lock. Click. I backed away. And held my breath. Below me, I could still hear him, his voice echoing faintly through the vents, drifting up from my parents' room. Still down there. Still talking to himself. I knew I couldn't stay. The bathroom door was flimsy, with a lock that might keep out a curious sibling, not someone like him. My only chance was the window. I climbed onto the toilet, nudged the screen out with my elbow, and slowly pushed the window open, inch by inch. The night air hit my face, cool and sharp. Just a few feet away was the flat roof of the garage, a big silver AC unit near its center glinting faintly under the moonlight. I didn't think. I climbed. My bare knees scraped against the shingles as I crawled low, heart hammering in my chest. I ducked behind the AC unit, pressing my back against the warm metal. My breath came in short gasps, quick and ragged. Inside the house, something slammed. A door? A drawer? He was still in there. Still searching. So I stayed put. Curled up behind the unit. Not even daring to peek. The garage roof became this little island, cut off from everything. There was no ladder, no way down, no way to scream for help without drawing him outside. All I had was this tiny pocket of safety and the hope he wouldn't think to look up. One by one, the stars blinked on overhead. The neighbor's porch light flicked to life. Farther down the street, I heard a car pull into a driveway and a door slam shut. Normal sounds. Familiar sounds. Harmless sounds. But I didn't move. At some point, I must have dozed off, just for a moment. That was all it took. I woke to the sound of my name. My mom's voice. My dad's too. Calling from the front yard. I bolted upright, scraping my palms on the shingles. But I didn't care. I peeked over the roof's edge and saw their car parked in the driveway, doors hanging open, the soft glow of the interior lights spilling out. I shouted. They ran toward me, panic etched into their faces. I pointed at the bathroom window, waving both arms. Stay there, they shouted, then vanished inside. I waited, heart pounding again, frozen behind the AC unit until I heard their voices echoing from inside. My mom appeared at the window, pale and shaking. It's okay, she said, arms outstretched. You're safe now. What happened? I crawled in and collapsed into her arms. I cried, shaking, gasping, trying to get the words out. I told them everything in broken pieces. The sounds. The voice. The door. The fear. My dad listened without saying a word. My mom held my face in her hands, eyes full of tears. You're safe, she whispered. You're brave. You did the right thing. I never saw Freddie again. He didn't wave from across the street. Didn't lean on the fence. Didn't sit in his truck with a beer. It was like he'd never existed. Months later, I asked what happened. Just once. My mom's answer was quiet. We handled it. That was all she said. And honestly, I think that's all I needed.